If Trump is live, I'm live. Let's check this out.
Do you know the latest on the evacuations out of Israel, Mr. President?
No.
Have you been updated on that?
No, we're having a meeting in an hour. We're meeting downstairs in 1 hour, yeah.
Mr. President, on Iran, if regime change does happen, if the regime falls, do you have a plan for what you think would happen?
I have a plan for everything, but we'll see what happens. Got a ways to go. They should have made the deal. I had a great deal for them. They should have made that deal.
They should have
60
made
days
the
we
deal.
talked about it, and in the end they decided not to do it, and now they wish they did it. And they want to meet, but it's a little late to meet, but they want to meet. And they want to come to the White House. They'll even come to the White House.
You should do it.
I may do that.
You should. You should do that.
It's a shame it could have been done the easy way.
Do you think the regime there could fall?
Sure, anything could happen, right? Of that? Sure, that could happen. Yeah, please.
The Senate Judiciary Committee is holding a hearing on who exactly was running the White House under Joe Biden. Who do you think that was?
I think the auto pen ran the White House.
The auto pen ran the White House.
President before me. I think it's one of the greatest scandals in the history of this country. One of the biggest scandals. He wasn't making a decision. He was never for open borders where people can.
I don't think they're going to make a single. I don't think they're going to make a single or ask a single question about this football club.
Came in from all over the world, from prisons and gangs and drug dealers and all of that. The mentally insane. He was never for that. He was never for open borders, and he was never for, if you think, he was never for transgender for everybody or men playing in women's sports. You know, he was never for that. Have you ever had women? Could a woman make your team, fellas? Tell me. You think?
They're trying not to get involved.
You're being nice.
Dude, you see them look at each other like, bro, we're going to get clipped. Oh, my God. Oh, that's so funny. They're not going to answer that.
What do you think? Think a woman could make the team? General managers, what do you think?
Difficult.
Don't say it. Close.
We have a very good women's team, though.
You do have, right? Yeah. But they should be playing with women, right? You know, it's one of those.
They don't want to get involved in this. Bro, it's such an easy fucking thing to say. Yeah, no, they shouldn't be playing with the men. What's so hard about that, dude? Nobody could say it.
See, they're very diplomatic.
Yeah. He's making fun of them. That's so funny.
On Iran, obviously, if there's been a change from when you were pursuing a diplomatic negotiation, now you seem very open to the idea of potentially taking U.S. action. Obviously, you're not going to tell us that. Can you walk us through what contributed to that change, how you got to where you are and making your decision now?
Well, I think it started the first night. I mean, that first night was devastating. And it really knocked the one side off, as you know. It was a devastating evening, day. And it's pretty much proceeded that way. I have a meeting in the war room in a little while.
Uh-oh, who's going to war room?
Some people call it.
Situation room.
So we're going to meet. We're going to see. We're in the midst of it's a terrible thing. I hate to see it. I hate to see all that death, so much death and destruction. But death primarily. That's what I hate to see.
Does that mean you haven't made a decision yet on what to do?
I have ideas as to what to do, but I haven't made a final. I like to make the final decision 1 second before it's due, you know, because things change. I mean, especially with war, things change with war. It can go from one extreme to the other. War is very bad. There was no reason for this to be.
War is bad.
There was no reason for Russia, Ukraine. A lot of war.
He's gonna say it. He's gonna say it. He always says it. That war would have never started if he was president. He's gonna say it.
Wars there was no reason for. You know, you look right up there. I don't know. See the Declaration of Independence, and I say, I wonder if the Civil War. It always seemed to me maybe that could have been solved without losing 600,000 plus people. So a lot of, it's very sad to see. It's very sad to see what's happening. But with that being said, I would say right now, Israel, from the standpoint of winning a war, is doing pretty well. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, in your meeting today with the
war is bad, Trump 2025.
the Chief of Staff of the Pakistani Army, did you talk about Iran? Did that come up?
Yeah.
You can share from that
Yeah,
meeting?
well, they know Iran very well, better than most. And they're not happy about anything. It's not that they're bad with Israel. They know them both, actually, but they're probably, maybe they know Iran better. But they see what's going on, and he agreed with me. Reason I had him here, I wanted to thank him for not going into the war, just ending the war, and I want to thank, as you know,
the Academy.
Prime Minister Modi just left, just a little while ago, just left, and we're working a trade deal with India, we're working a trade deal with Pakistan, and they were both here. But I was with Modi a few weeks ago. He was here actually.
Persians want this. I've been learning about the relationship of Persians and Israel. I never knew. I would just assumed because they're, Middle Eastern, they wouldn't like the Israelis. But I'm learning new stuff all the time. It's kind of crazy. I've never paid so much attention to Middle Eastern dynamics in my life. And I've been to Iraq. I went to war 2007, a long time ago. Now we're going to, hopefully avoid another war, but yeah, it looks like we're maybe going right back into it.
But now we speak to him, and I'm so happy. There was a deal that two smart people, plus, they had people on their staff too, but two very smart people decided not to keep going with that war. That could have been a nuclear war. Those are two nuclear powers. Big ones, big nuclear powers, and they decided that. So I was honored to meet him today.
And if I can, Mr. Eastlake, sir, and for anyone who may want to answer, how has the travel bans from certain countries affected fans maybe coming in for the games, or is that not a consideration?
Johnny, go ahead.
Oh, they actually asked a football question. That's crazy. Yeah, whatever. Who cares about football? Longtime allies because of persecution. Interesting. Yeah, I need to do some more research. I want to know. I want to know how that works. What's going on? I want to know the history between Persia and Israel. It's just interesting to me. I can't believe I'm actually getting into all this stuff. To be honest.
Club World Cup, which is historic.
Do you think that if the U.S. wanted to do so, we would have global domination? We say we have the best military, but so does every other country. So hypothetically saying we could take over the world. I think that we wouldn't be able to take over the whole world because the world would resist, and us versus the world, there's a lot more of them than there are of us. So it's not just an equipment game. I guess if there was some way for us to destroy everybody's nukes and we're the only one with nukes, that sure, but nah. I think that if our Navy went up against other navies, we'd take them on. If our Air Force went up against their Air Force, we could take them on. But nukes just change everything. That's, you know what I mean? So these other countries have nukes too. So it would it wouldn't work. If you take all the nukes out of the equation, our military can cripple the rest of the world's military for sure. But since they have nukes, it's a different story. You know what I'm saying?
With Iran, what's your message to Americans both here and abroad who are not only concerned about the U.S. potentially getting involved in another conflict in the Middle East, but worry about the potential for retaliation here at home?
Yeah, well, I don't want to get involved either, but I've been saying for 20 years, maybe longer, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I've been saying it for a long time, and I think they were a few weeks away from having one. And they had to sign a document. I think they wish they signed it now. It was a fair deal. And now it's a harder thing to sign, It's a lot of water over the dam.
Right.
But,
that's what he was saying yesterday.
I say it very simply. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon.
Water
Too much
over
devastation.
Water over the dam.
And they'd use it. I believe they'd use it.
So here's my question. So what was the offer before? What was the deal that they didn't want to do a deal before? And follow-up question, what's the new deal? So since the old deal is kind of out of the picture, what's the new deal?
Others won't use it, but I believe they'd use it. So that's it. It's very simple as far as I'm concerned. They can't have a nuclear weapon.
And then domestically, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley came out this week as the lead sponsor of a bill to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. It stands out because he's a Republican. There's still 20 states that have it at $7.25. Do you support the legislation or do you?
Well, I haven't seen it. I'd have to speak to Josh. He's a very good friend of mine. That's interesting that Josh did that. I'm going to have to think about that one. Some people agree with it. Some people don't. Some people say it really turns away business. Restaurants close. And a lot of things happen. Other people agree. I'd have to speak to Josh. He's He's a good guy.
Mr. President, for the Iran, the possibility of an Iran deal, is the destruction or the dismantling of the Fordow nuclear enrichment center, is that a prerequisite for a deal? Is that a red line for you?
No, it's just something that
good
people
question.
talk about having. We're the only ones that have the capability to do it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do it at all. Yeah, we have the best military equipment in the world. You see that with this fight. We have planes that are undetectable, flying around like, nobody's able to see them stealth. You guys want to be stealth.
He's verifying we do have planes that nobody can see. I wonder if that's the UFO technology they got at Area 51 from crash. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Tonight,
But we got dope shit that nobody knows about. That's like there. I've seen images of planes flying in the skies of Iran and Iraq and the surrounding areas, and people are like, nobody online can identify these. They're all plane people. They're crazy, dude. They could tell you every single fucking plane in the sky. They're just like somebody who likes cars. They'll tell you everything about every car on the road, right? There's these plane people. And they can't identify these things that are being used right now. So we're operating over there with new shit.
Be stealth, you'll never lose, right? But these are incredible planes and weapons. We have the best weapons in the world.
Yeah, we do.
By far. Nobody close. And certain countries take advantage of that. Israel has incredible weaponry. So we'll see what happens. I've been asked about it by everybody, but I haven't made a decision.
Mr. President, you talked earlier today about having daily conversations with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Yeah.
How have those conversations weighed on you in terms of getting more involved? You've been lobbying for the U.S. to get more involved. Has that had an impact in kind of your evolution, sir?
Look, we talk, and I'd like to see everything done. I would have preferred having just an agreement, a strong agreement, verifiable agreement. But it was such a shame. They were so close. Iran was very close to signing what would have been a very good agreement for them. And maybe that could still happen, I guess. They do want to come and see us. They want to see me in the White House. That's a big statement. But it's very late.
Yeah, the fact that they will come all the way to the White House now, after all this, now they're trying to come to the White House to make a deal. They had a chance to make a deal. And I still think Trump should make a deal. It would be for the best, right? He could make a point and be like, see, I meant it. And then, but I think he's already kind of made that point, in my opinion. But he could stick to his guns. But then it leads to fucking war. Or we can get, if I guess as long as he's saying unconditional surrender, right? But maybe he's like over asking. When you're bargaining and then you lowball somebody and then they charge high and then you meet somewhere in the middle. So maybe saying complete surrender. Maybe they meet somewhere in the middle. I don't know. But I feel like Trump's going to go in a direction that leads to the least amount of death. That's just what I think he's going to do and how this is all going to play out.
Is it enough of a statement?
Clip it. Clip me. See if I'm right. That's my prediction, though. I think that this is not going to lead to war.
To hold off getting
We're going to see what happens. Look, we're going to see what happens. Ending it as soon as you can would be good.
Have you closed the door on meeting with them?
No.
Okay, so it's still open to them coming here in Europe.
They asked if they could come. We'll see if that happens. It's not that easy for them to come. They can't get out. They're in Iran, and in one case, the guy wanted to come so badly, but he can't get out because his bombs dropping all over the place.
Have you seen the Tucker Carlson, Senator Ted Cruz interview? It seems like
That's wild, bro. Yeah, they want to come here, but they can't get out. There just so happens to be fucking bombs dropping all over the place, so they're stuck there. Yeah, but whose bombs are they? They're Trump's bombs. That is fucking power play to the max, dude. This man is the most powerful man in the world, and he is utilizing being the most powerful man in the world. That is crazy. He's embodying it. He is enjoying this. I think he likes this. I think he thinks this is fun.
it's like this issue on whether or not the United States should strike is kind of dividing a lot of your supporters.
No, my supporters are for me. My supporters are America first and make America great again. My supporters don't want to see Iran have a nuclear weapon. Tucker's a nice guy. He called and apologized the other day
Yeah, he did.
because he thought he said things that were a little bit too
I heard about
strong,
that.
and I appreciated that. And Ted Cruz is a nice guy. I mean, he's been with me for a long time. I'd say once the race was over, he's been with me ever since, right?
Yeah.
But very simple. If they think that it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon, then they should oppose me. But nobody thinks it's okay.
Nah, they shouldn't have one.
I don't want to fight either. I'm not looking to fight. But if it's a choice between fighting and them having a nuclear weapon, you have to do what you have to do. Maybe.
Or you can make them bend the fucking knee, right? So you fuck them up until they don't want it anymore. They don't want it anymore. Are you a veteran, Stan? I am. I was in the Marines 2006 to 2010, Iraq 2007. When I was in Arizona on a trip last year, I saw giant military grade planes, but they look more like drones. I think a lot of it's drones. A lot of the crazy shit that we're doing is drones. They don't even have pilots in there. And a lot of the AI, there's a lot of AI technology, and it always hits the military first. So a lot of this crazy shit we're seeing released to the public that we can do, just imagine the AI that they've been using for the military. You know what I mean? And they're continuing to.
Maybe we won't have to fight. Don't forget, we haven't been fighting. We add a certain amount of genius to everything, but we haven't been fighting at all. Israel's done a very good job of that. But we'll see what happens. The bottom line is they can't have nuclear. And if I can't imagine that Ted Cruz said it's okay for Iran to have nuclear, including Tucker. I don't think Tucker says it's okay. The problem is then they get themselves into a thing. They don't want them to have nuclear, but then they say, well, we don't want to fight. Well, you're going to have to make a choice because it's possible that you're going to have to fight for them not to have nuclear. And it's interesting because I did ask Tucker, I said, well, are you okay with nuclear weapons being in the hands of Iran? And he sort of didn't like that. He didn't want to really, but he sort of didn't like that. And I said, well, if it's okay with you, then you and I do have a difference. But it's really not okay with him. Therefore, you may have to fight. And maybe it'll end, and maybe it'll end very quickly. But there's no way that you can allow, whether you have to fight or not, you can allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon because the entire world will blow up. Not going to let that happen.
He's basically saying what everyone agrees with. If you give Iran a nuke, they're going to use it. You let Iran have a nuke, World War III will start. Straight up, facts, it's going to happen. $2 super chat, thank you very much. Neither side eats bacon, not my war, I care not. You should care about Iran having nukes, bro, because if they get one, they're going to use it. We need to never use a nuke again. That's what we need to be doing. It's already started, so now it has to get finished. I would have disagreed before. I would be like, I don't know, dude, just leave it alone. I don't know, but maybe maybe what Israel's saying is true. Yeah, they're super close to making nukes or whatever. Maybe it's true. And if it is, then I mean, I guess something should be done about it. But I don't think we should be putting boots on the ground in Iran. As much as I am against war, I also don't want them to kill each other and more innocent people dying for people in power. Yeah, that's never cool. We don't want that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to let more death. I mean, some people I was having this conversation with one of my editors this morning. I was saying, I think that there's 20% of people wouldn't give a shit if nukes started getting used. They just wouldn't give a shit. They'd watch because their life sucks and they're angry at the world and they don't give a fuck. I think there's a lot of people that are like that. I think there's a bunch of you guys in my chat right now. I think it's actually a lot more normal than people think. There's people that don't give a fuck. They just want to see the world blow up. I don't want to see the fucking world blow up, but I think there's people that do. They don't give a shit. And I'm not judging them either. I think it's normal. Fuck it, dude. Your life sucks. Fuck the world, I get it. I understand.
You had a bit of a row with President Emmanuel Macron in France the other day at the G7.
No, he's a nice guy. Look, he said I was going back home to make a ceasefire. Not a ceasefire.
Maybe Iran needs Trans Sesame Street. That's a fantastic comment. I like that. That's what's gonna stop World War III right there. Yeah.
Long beyond ceasefire. And I said, why do you say that? Why would you say ceasefire? It's a bad term to use. Because a ceasefire means everything's going swimmingly, we'll take a little time off. It's not. We're not looking for a ceasefire. We're looking for a total, complete victory. Again, you know what the victory is. No nuclear weapon.
Mr. President.
So I thought it was a very badly worded statement by him, and obviously I let him know that.
On the southern border, you've had record low numbers for the month of May, 95 apprehensions, 0 releases, compared to that of the previous administration exactly a year ago,
Yeah.
more than 60,000 releases. What do you attribute that success to?
I like you. Who are you with?
Turning Point USA, sir.
Well, they're very good. Turning Point. Charlie, very good.
He likes you if you give him a question he wants to answer.
See, that's what I call a good question, fellas. 1 out of 10, John. 1 out of 10, but that's a really good question. No, we had record good numbers on the border. And people are coming in, but they have to come in legally. Like some of these guys behind me, they have to come in legally. And if they come in legally, we want them. They have to say they love America, they love our country. And if they can't say that, we don't want them. Thank you very much. Very nice. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Press.
Thank you.
Thank you, Press. Get the fuck out. I love that. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Press, your time's up. Gaming with Gecko, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Says Trump hasn't ended the wars he promised to end in one day. I'm not confident about where we are heading. I think that we're closer to, like, we were, I think under Trump, we were closer to ending the Ukrainian war than we've ever been under Biden. I do think that he said he's going to end it in one day because he lies so he can get elected. But that's what I think. I understand where you're coming from. You know, I respect your position. I disagree. I think that the direction we're going in is to have the least amount of death. I think that's the direction we're going in. You know, now with the whole Iran thing, what really depends is boots on the ground. If we have boots on the ground, there's gonna be a lot of death. If they're just gonna bomb the shit out of their government and kill everyone in the government and like replace them and like completely overthrow that regime, I think that's gonna be minimal death. That's all we want. Legal, yeah, legal immigration is totally fine. I'm cool with that, man. Come here legally. You know, I mean, and if the levels are like really low, I don't even give a shit. It's illegal, but the numbers are too high, so I give a shit.